Hello, it looks like I'm live. And welcome because I'm actually streaming this in three places. I'm streaming it on my personal Facebook page. I'm streaming it on my business Facebook page, which is at Visibility Vibe without the S, where you'll find Jenny Kovacs, the Queen of Being Seen, as it says down there. And I'm also streaming this live to my YouTube channel. So if you haven't seen me on YouTube and didn't know that I was there, at Jenny Kovacs, my name there is where you'll find me. If you haven't yet found my Facebook page and you just stumbled across this video, then at Visibility Vibe without the S, you'll find Jenny Kovacs, the Queen of Being Seen. And for those of you who are connected to me personally, maybe we've worked together, we went to school together, we grew up together, or any other way we've connected through maybe business groups and things like that, you'll see me here. So what I'm going to share with you, and this is really for the benefit of those of you that are on either my public Facebook page or even on my YouTube channel. And by the way, if you're watching, say hi, and then I can see some of your comments and things like that. Now, I can't post comments, but I can see yours, I hope, anyway. But if you are on YouTube or on my Facebook page, what you won't know is that in February 2023, which we're still in, I made a promise to myself for no other reason than to keep a promise to myself that I would do 365 consecutive days of Facebook Lives. Now, I did this because for me, doing videos isn't a challenge, and doing one, for every day of the year isn't a challenge for me. However, having to show up live, regardless of whether I'm out or whether I'm working or whatever I'm doing and finding Wi-Fi for a whole year for 365 consecutive days was something that I thought would really push me to my edges, push me to my boundaries. So as it happens, on the day that you're looking at this, we are on day, I think, 308. I think it is now, maybe 308 or 309. I'll put all the correct hashtags in the comments below. But that's what we're at. So I have less than 60 days to go before I've done a full year of consecutive lives. Like, seriously, breathe that in. Breathe that in. How would things be for you if you had done that? But today, I wanted to talk about another part of visibility that I absolutely adore. I've been working on and working with people on for years. In fact, since 2010. So 13 years and now going into my 14th year. It's something that I love because it allows other, basically employed professionals to be able to put themselves out there, often resulting in more recognition, promotion, sometimes pay rises as well. Had a client many years ago that was not only offered a promotion, but a nice £15,000 pay rise to go with it. Of course, this isn't always about getting more money, but it has lots of very good consequences when you are making yourself more visible in lots of different ways, and usually the ways in which you want it to be. So I've been doing this work since 2010. I absolutely love it. Visibility for me is all about you being seen, you being heard, and you being even more visible. So why this work? Why choose this work? And by the way, I've written some things down because today I'm going to talk about visibility, speaking or talks or even pitches, and the bliss point and what on earth that all means and what they've got to do. So by all means, watch this live, come back and rewatch it, share it with friends who you think could do with hearing these messages. So what can happen from doing this work is some really, really great things. I have over the years helped people to be able to pitch for a TED Talk. Now, once you get the TED Talk, you don't actually, everything gets handed over to TEDx, and they've got lots of tools, lots of resources to actually help you formulate your talk. But the bit is pitching for the talk, and there's things to do and things not to do. Some of the other things that have that I love through this work is I wrote down a few things. So repeat business. One of the happy accidents about visibility and speaking is the repeat business element. And I know certainly for myself and some of the clients I've worked with, it's what goes on and what happens next. So many great things like that. Famously, I pitched to some people in 20 minutes, and the first piece of business was significantly quite a few thousands of pounds, and then it went on and on, and even years later, I still from that talk get pieces of business. So I explain this to you just to answer the question of like, why are you suddenly talking about this, or why are you talking about this now? This isn't something new for me. This is something that's an important part of being visible and putting yourself and your work out there. So why is speaking plus visibility so important, and what on earth has it got to do with the bliss spot or the bliss point? So the most important thing about visibility and being a visible speaker is it's not always about a show or a performance or an ego. And I know that sometimes you'll see people pointing, dancing, talking like this with lots of authority, being really like a Yorkshire Terrier puppy or something, and being really flappy and all over the place. And that's, in my books, from a visibility perspective, is not what speaking's about. It's not what talks are about. In fact, in my world, many of the people that come and seek my help, either the people like authors and consultants and coaches, and some retail businesses as well, either they come and seek my help so that more people know about the work they do and more people can buy their message or them. Especially with authors, you know, you put so much blood, sweat and tears into a book, and then you need to market it. Now, whether you're self-published or published by a traditional publishing house, there's a certain amount of marketing that will happen, but there's more. And the easiest way as an author is to speak, deliver talks, and even sometimes pitch, but not in the way that you might have been traditionally taught to pitch. So I think that's really important. What it does is it leaves you in people's minds. It has people recommend you or your work. It points people in your direction. And certainly for me and some of the people I've had the privilege of working closely with, it's meant that they've sometimes got corporate gigs. Sometimes they've worked with groups of people. They've been able to have the people come to them rather than them going to the people. So it feels much more magnetic and less like they're trying to find people, trying to get people and all of that. So it's a really important thing to do. Why does it matter? Specifically when it comes to delivering talks or speeches or speaking, a lot of people learn by emulating other people. And the problem with that is there's certain things they miss. Now, most of the people I work with, they've got service-based businesses. Some of them have got product-based businesses, but some of them have got a message or a mission or a drive that they want to share. So the most important thing isn't necessarily about pitching and selling to people. It's about having people buy into you, buy into the work you do, or buy into the book you've written, the product you sell, the concept that you've got. And this could be for non-profits as well, which I've also worked with, some very well known here in the UK and some not so well known. So there's all sorts of reasons why this is important. And I was thinking about the bliss point. So what is the bliss point? What are you talking about, Jenny? The bliss point is something that is traditionally known for being used in fast foods. Have you ever wondered why, when somebody is eating fast food, whether it's yourself or someone else, how it's like they can't get enough of it? They never get sick of it. They never get bored of it. There's a reason for this. Now, I'm not sure when this happened, but somebody called Moscovich actually discovered what is termed as the bliss point. And the bliss point is this kind of, if you think of it like a triangle over there, if you think of it like a triangle, it's sugar, salt, and sometimes referred to as fat, but it's actually the richness of food. So if you think of something like the humble, I don't know, KFC or McDonald's, you've normally on the food or the meal that you're eating got like a magic mix of salt, sugar, and richness or fat. You know, this is really compelling psychologically to many humans. It's the reason why so many people almost have like an addiction or affiliation with fast food. Now, I'm not here to judge and say that it's right or wrong, each to their own. The bliss point can actually be incorporated in other dishes that aren't fast food too. I know this because something you might not have known about me was when I left school, I went to catering college. I am a qualified chef, but more importantly, I love food to taste good. So when my vegan friends were like, "Oh, I'd really love to, make a really nice soup and it's got butter in it and stuff like that," I'm like, "Okay, let's swap out this ingredient for this thing." It still happens to land on the bliss point: salt, sweet, and richness. Okay. So, one of the things that I find the most is many people who have sought my advice or wanted to know a bit more about speaking and presenting in a way where their presentation sells. Remember, it has people to buy into them, buy into their mission, buy into their product, or buy into their service. When they come to me, they think because they've seen other people do it, that speaking is about having a big ego, being overly confident, and delivering a message in a certain way from a stage. And of course, there are some elements to having those things be included, but that is not your bliss spot. It's not your bliss spot when you're speaking. So if you are listening to this, do put a note of this date in your diary. 20 I'm going to get it wrong now. I think it's 27th, 28th, 29th, which should be a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Just for an hour, I'm actually going to go deeper into, well, what are the bliss point pieces of a talk that actually has people buy into your products, buy into your services, without doing all of the things like, telling people to run to the back of the room, shaming people into, well, if you're not serious about this and you're not buying it, and things that many of us have seen. And some people think that's the only way then that you can sell from a stage. In fact, I have personally sold from stages since 2010. Sometimes they've been big conferences where you're actually not allowed to sell. Sometimes it's felt like a very natural progression. So I'm not saying break rules. If you're not allowed to do something, do it. But my intention wasn't to sell anything. I've been paid to do keynotes where I've been paid to do the keynotes. I don't need to sell anything. And yet people have still come to me and wanted to buy from me. And I've been in places where, for want of a better term, it has been a pitch. One particular group of people, I remember I had 20 minutes and I was sat around a group of about 8 people around a table. And in those 20 minutes was able to get certain information and give certain information. And by the time I'd left the room, 10 minutes down the road, I'd actually already had a phone call from somebody who'd already heard from somebody in that room who was excited. I want my listeners to feel excited, and I want the same for you. Visibility doesn't have to be a show or a performance. So why this has got to do with the bliss point and those 3 ingredients, there are obviously more ingredients that can be added. But I want your talks, your speeches, and your pitches to have these 3 ingredients, because when they do, that's when people want to buy from you. And you want people to buy from you because you don't want to spend a lot of time either before, during, or afterwards trying to get people, trying to grab people. You want them to want you. It's a bit like dating. You don't want to force that person into falling in love with you. You want to know that they already want to be with you. And it's exactly the same for speaking. But there's not very many people that emulate this. So I've had people that are very well known that have come to me and asked, well, how can I do this? How can I, have more people, be interested in my products or services? Or I've been booked to speak on this stage, and the requirement is that I need to sell more because the promoter will take a cut and I don't want to look like an idiot, basically, is what people will say. But there's a very important part of the talk and the visibility stuff. So there are 3 things to consider that will help with this kind of bliss point. And in your talk, it's important to have a destination, know where you're headed to. Now, I know that sounds vague, but in the time that we've got, I haven't got time to go deeper into this, which is why I'm asking you to put a note in your diary and either come back and listen to what those things are, or if you're busy in between Christmas and New Year, bookmark it to come back and listen to them. It's not going to be for very long, 45 minutes, 3 45-minute sessions where I'll start to talk about this. And for some of you, you'll want to go on and dive deeper into this and actually do this for your talks in 2024. You don't want to wait till this time next year and start putting yourself out there to speak. You want to kind of hit the ground running. And, quite a few people that I work with hit the ground running very quickly because I think I make it easy. But I center the talk around you. I don't try and get you to act or perform or be something that you're not. So know where you're heading to. This is really important, and I'll show you how you do that. And this can start from before you've even set foot in the room, set foot on the stage. Okay. The second thing is it's about knowing who you're speaking to. So what happens when you get booked for a speaking gig, even paid to do the speaking gig, and you realize that you're in front of the wrong audience? Many people feel like, oh, well, maybe it's a bit of practice, or, oh, well, that's not going to work very well, and 101 reasons. But specifically, if you're like a founder, a business owner, an entrepreneur, a consultant, a coach, an author, you won't want to take a day out of your life traveling to somewhere to speak in person or online, and then basically walking away with kind of nothing to show for it. You'll want something. So a combination of the first piece of knowing where you're heading to, along with knowing who you're speaking to, makes it so much easier. And it actually helps that if you get in the room and think, I've got a talk that I'm going to deliver to people with red hair. Oh, everyone in the room has got blue hair. It allows you to switch at the last minute without having to blag it, without having to fake it till you make it, and to be able to actually have those people buy into you and in some cases buy from you, which makes everybody happy, you, them, and the host. Okay. And then the other thing is it's knowing exactly when to sell. And a lot of people think that they have to stuff the audience with a lot of really great information and then at the end make some sort of pitch. Well, that's not quite how it works. I developed a 7.25 step to make it really easy for people to lay this down. But I think after the pandemic, people want more closeness, more intimacy, more connection. And I've noticed there's been a lot of changes. And remember that I mentor this because I still, speak, I still create talks, I still work with people and companies to help them with their presentations and pitches. So as these things evolve, I am in a very blessed position where I get to see the tweaks and the changes, the things that no longer work, the things that you might have been told 10 years ago, 5 years ago that no longer work, the things that people try to bring to video to make it into a pitch that actually makes it cringeworthy. So all of these things I'm working with on a regular basis. So those are the sorts of things that I really want to share with you. So mark the time in your calendar, put the time in your diary, because I would absolutely love to share this in more detail with you. So any one of you who's available Wednesday the 26th, Thursday the 27th, Thursday the 28th, and Friday the 29th, and only for 45 minutes on each day. And there will be a way for you to watch the replays if that's something that you would like to do too, but not for too long, because we'll move on and show you how to actually infuse the visibility stuff. So that's what I wanted to share today. Thank you for those of you that have been following my video journey, my Facebook Live journey for, all of this time. You've done over 300 days. There's a small handful of you that have virtually liked every single one, every single day. So for that, I thank you. Thank you for the messages that you send. Thank you for the light bulb moments you share and the insights. I would really love to know, are you a speaker or an aspiring speaker? And if you are, would you like to be adding these kinds of flavors, if you like, the bliss point to what you're doing? If you are a business who's focused on delivering a product or services, but not necessarily focused on just being a business that only speaks and that's it, then what I'm going to share with you week after next is going to be just for you. You're going to love it. It's going to change the game and allow you to create more cash flow and more income in your business throughout the year without you having to be on planes, trains, and automobiles 24/7. You can sit at home with your kids, you can stroke your fur babies, you can, go out there and shine and be visible and then go back to the things that you love doing most in your business or in your professional life. So if that's you, I will be back. I'll be sharing a lot more about this over the next few days, and I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to hear your stories. So, aspiring speaker or speaker already, and what would you like your talks to be about? What would you like your pitches to be about? How would you like to have them be better? I would love to know. Type in the comments below, even if you're watching this back on the replay. Thank you to you on YouTube for watching, and I welcome your comments too. Thank you for those of you that are watching on Facebook. Bye for now.